I believe that I lived in kind of a low-grade depression for decades because I didn't really understand how to acknowledge my gifts and my purpose.
The gentleness of myself now to see that those pivotal moments were there for me to see something and not looking at it as a judging, but as a gratitude.
It's ripped away my identity, what I had determined to be my identity, which was my job title for so long. And, really where I put how I saw myself, the level of success that I had, those types of things.
Stacking all, it's like the evidence that you are, you can, you will, and you must. And when it's hard, you must.
We need each other to really recognize those gifts and talents and really own them ourselves, because the world needs us to live that calling out in our heart to make that positive impact.
Hey everyone, it's Sophia from Sacred You. Thank you so much for being here. A quick message before we dive into today's discussion. You may have been watching our videos, but have not had a chance to hit that subscribe button. So if you have gained value from our conversations, from our channel, it would be so appreciated for us if you would hit that subscribe button below right now and even give us a like. What that means is not only does it allow us to grow our subscriber base, but it also allows us to bring in even more guests for you to listen to. And you will be one of the first ones to be notified. So please hit that subscribe button and let's get started on today's wonderful panel discussion.
Okay, welcome to this very special Sacred You Love event. This is called Embrace Your Unique Gifts and Make an Impact in a Changing World, which is very relevant for today as we're all experiencing exponential change, and that's just going to continue, and the world needs us all to shine our unique brilliance. I am so honored to be facilitating this panel. My name's Deb King. This is going to be an inspiring discussion that has you really get how amazing you are and have some tips and tricks of expanding that and really connecting with this incredible panel of brilliant ladies who I'm going to ask to introduce themselves in a moment, and then we're going to go through some really juicy questions and get their insights on those. Yeah, super passionate about this topic because so many of us we all have brilliance, but so many of us don't recognize it because it's like we are inside a jar and we can't read the label on the outside. So we need each other to really recognize those gifts and talents and really own them ourselves, because the world needs us to live that calling out in our heart to make that positive impact. So this is a super important topic. Thank you for being here. Let's get on with it in terms of introductions. I am going to start with the amazing Anne Irwin. Would you like to do a brief intro?
100%. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for having us. Excited about this topic because I'm an empowerment coach for women, and I work with women to help them discover their unique gifts and shine those gifts into the world. And this is part of what we're talking about today. I'm an NLP practitioner and hypnosis practitioner, been in the health and wellness industry for over 40 years. I started with nutrition, and that's just evolved into what I do today. And it's a beautiful place to be and empowering women, because I reckon we can really change the world as a unique species, and what we can do is really important. So thank you again. I'm looking forward to this amazing discussion. I'm also a host of the Sacred You community, and my tribe is called Empower You. So check that out as well.
All about empowerment. We love that, and women certainly need that. Mostly. Let us hear from you, Angilie.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and have this amazing discussion. So my name is Angilie Kapoor, And my company is called Oversight Global, and I'm a mindset architect and a transformation strategist. And we help women to rediscover their true authentic selves and also rediscover their confidence and create a life that they love, that is purposeful and meaningful. And so I'm definitely in alignment with today's topic and excited to explore it with the rest of these lovely ladies.
Yes, thank you, Angilie. And Denise.
Hi, thank you. Great to be here and be able to share with all you ladies and the rest of the world. How I support and teach people to self-heal. I look at myself as a way shower. So I take you on your journey back to yourself instead of reaching out into the world for answers. It's about reaching in for your answers and really knowing your true essence of yourself, to live your magnificence, to live your gifts out loudly. So yeah, the way shower through your traumas, and then giving you all those tools, the same tools that I have, to actually live your purposeful life. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Denise. And my friend Esther in Canada on the other side of the world.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you, fabulous women. I'm so honored to be here. And I am the founder and CEO of a website called Mind Myself. You see it below my name here. And it's all about helping women, 40s and up, explore and start their journey around holistic health. There's so much information everywhere, but how do we know who to trust? How do we know to find a single source where we can begin the journey and feel safe and supported and nurtured as we do, and maybe even find some practitioners to help us? So I am delighted to have brought that to the world, and my whole purpose is in growing that and making this information available to women everywhere around the world as they become more magnificent. I love what Denise said too about magnificence and way shower. What two awesome words. I hope we share those lots today.
I think that sounds like a great idea. So welcome, amazing panel. I guess it would be good to introduce myself as well. I'm the co-founder of the Coach Training Campus, and we support the way showers, the coaches, the healers, the practitioners, the leading edge wisdom teachers to grow their business and typically do this, connect with their unique gifts and talents and actually share that, make that positive impact in the world that their heart is calling for. So I feel that we're all very aligned on this topic and it's going to be juicy. So let's kick off with our first question, which is around pivotal moment. I'm going to start with you, Esther. Can you please share a pivotal moment when you discovered what your unique talents are, and how did this realization impact your life journey?
Deb, it's such a great question, and I look forward to hearing everyone's answers. And I couldn't narrow it down to one because so many things have conspired, I'm going to say, to bring me there. So I'm just going to do a really quick list. My first career job as a youth and family counselor with at-risk youth. Oh my gosh, did I learn something and have to deal with my own issues from teenagehood. 1998, traveling around the world to 10 different countries for 6 months. Doing a report all in one day while learning, in 24 hours, all while learning a new software. Wow. And 1 year, I joined a choir and a rock and roll band and had to learn 150 new songs that year. I edited a book with a therapist about boundaries, barriers, and beliefs. Started Mind Myself 4.5 years ago. This last year was part of a collaborative book project called Epic Transformations, and so many things, joining the organization LifeWave. And here's the key, and this is what I think you're asking, is what were the learnings? I learned with all of those different steps and so many more that I'm resilient, I'm resourceful, I'm curious, I'm strong, I have a big brain, I'm pretty good with strategic planning and navigating. And I feel like, especially in the travel portion, I became a global citizen. And I learned all the way along the travels, the journeys, to love myself more and more deeply and to forgive myself. So those moments all contributed to that learning. And it's changed and shaped who I am in everything I do.
My gosh, what an answer. I love everything about you, Esther. That's so cool. It reminds me of the power of really connecting with all those achievements we have done and do that reflection. But yeah, what a beautiful, you are a woman of so many unique talents. I love you. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, Denise, same question for you. What was a pivotal moment? I can have multiple, but if there was a pivotal moment that where you discovered your unique talents, and how did that realization help you on your life's journey?
I feel my pivotal moments was when everything went wrong. All the things that went wrong in my life were real pivotal moments for change, and for me to be able to see what was really going on, and for me to take note and see the learnings from that. Sometimes I didn't. I found myself in those repeating pivotal moments again. But I feel that the most pivotal moment is actually seeing myself for everything, the good, the bad, the ugly, the magnificence, and really, and like you said, Deb, reflecting back and going, oh, okay, so that was a pivotal moment there for me. Oh, I didn't realize that, but now I do. So for me, and that's just been on repeat all the time. Every day there's something pivotal that happens in my life that goes, oh, okay, I get that now. Yes, and Esther said there's just many, but it's just when you actually become aware that, oh, life does, there's lessons in everything that we do. And okay, I didn't see it for half of my life, but now I'm paying attention. Now I can see what those pivotal moments mean. And what they've really taught me, and the gratitude I have behind all of that, to go, okay, the gentleness of myself now to see that those pivotal moments were there for me to see something, and not looking at it as a judging, but as a gratitude. Yeah.
What another powerful answer. Thank you, Denise. It's so spot on that there's pivotal moments every day. And there's so many blessings in the things that apparently go wrong. I resonate deeply with everything you said. Joe, how about for you? Is there a pivotal moment that when you discovered your unique talents, and what was your realization about your journey from that?
Like Esther said, there was so many, and Denise, there's so many. And I was just reflecting back of maybe like this, a specific moment for me. And that was when I was doing my NLP and hypnosis training. You had to do so many hours to qualify for, so we had to do a lot of prac. And I remember practicing on a friend of mine and realizing, oh my gosh, I do have the power. Like, not as in the power, but we were doing this specific process, and it was being supported by 4 people, and being suspended in the air with 2 fingers on each corner. And it just blew my mind, and realized it's not my power, it's the power of the energy working with for this person, and the mind that she had to adopt. She really needed to trust and believe that she was going to be okay in that moment. And we went on to do a lot more, because she was suffering an illness, and it was transformational for her. But it just really solidified in me that I have the power to change so many people's lives if I can support them in the trusting the process and using the mind, because we don't use a lot of the mind. Yeah, we use our conditioned selves over and over of our past, and how we can direct the mind anywhere we want to achieve whatever we want. So it was a very profound moment for me, one of the most, but over time, just so many things. And that was, when I was thinking back about one specific time, and then realizing how that impacted my journey and my belief in me that I could actually help and support so many more people in changing their lives. So, yeah.
Just want to go bravo to everyone. Loving these answers. What a special moment that was. Wow. And thank you for sharing, Joe. And the power of mind means perfect person to move to is Angilie for your answer. The mind architect. Pivotal moment for you when you discovered your unique talents, and how that realization impacted your journey?
Yeah, there's definitely a theme going on here. I'll tell you that much. I can resonate with Esther when she said that there's many moments. I also have many moments when I think back on that. Denise, it comes during times when you're going through some challenges and obstacles. And then also Joanne with the conditioning. So my pivotal moment was really when I come from a career in the healthcare industry, and I'm in healthcare management and leadership for 16 years. And then one day, just out of nowhere, completely unexpected, I got laid off from my healthcare management job. And that threw me into a tailspin. It was very traumatic for me. I was very devastated. But what it really did is it ripped away my identity, what I had determined to be my identity, which was my job title for so long. And really where I put how I saw myself, the level of success that I had, those types of things. And that was stripped away from me. And when that happened, it really forced me to look at me, Angilie, and figure out who am I aside from the job title that I had for those many years. And so that really started my journey of deep self-discovery and deep self-awareness, and really discovering who I was authentically and truly, and not letting a title or condition determine my identity and who I was. And so that helped me discover that one of the things that I was really passionate and loved about my career in healthcare management was coaching and mentoring. And so that's how I actually got into becoming a coach. I went to professional coaching development for over a year before I started my own coaching business. And that was part of me discovering me again. And then along the way, as I was discovering more about me, and my confidence and my self-esteem was coming back up, I discovered things like a childhood love that I used to have. I used to love writing, and that's how I ended up authoring my own books. I also rediscovered my voice after spending years of letting society and expectations mold who I was. That really wasn't me. I was rediscovering who I authentically was. I rediscovered my voice and now love speaking. I have 2 podcasts that I love to do, and I love networking with other people, where before I was super shy and wasn't really vocal about my thoughts and my feelings and things like that. And then also my love for singing. I always wanted to sing, but I was too afraid to get up on a stage and do it. And now I just love to do it. I love doing karaoke all the time. And then in high school, I was a dancer, and I lost that love when I entered the adult world and started working and refound that. And me and my husband are salsa dancers. We've been salsa dancing since we got married. And yeah, again, I think it comes in pieces. For me, like Denise, it came during a very traumatic, devastating time for me. And as I continue to learn about me, I continue to find those new things that I wasn't aware of that are my passions and my gifts.
Oh, I love it. You're definitely a soul sister. So many things align there. I really love that on every level. And yes, how powerful it is to sing, even if we don't think we're very good. It's so healthy. I need to do more of it. So yeah, I resonate with everyone. And one little thing I'd share about myself in a pivotal moment was only a couple of years ago in 2020, when I had very different plans for 2020, as most of us did, and started working closer with my now business partner in Coach Training Campus, Gabby. And she really opened my eyes to the fact that I have wisdom. So I had been a coach for nearly 20 years, but not thought I had wisdom to share, because I was life coach trained. So there's rules that you don't bring yourself into the space. I was trained by amazing mentors and people who I had definitely embraced their wisdom, but I thought it was theirs. So I didn't realize that the combination that I bring from all the things that I've learned over the time and all my experiences and my style is my own unique wisdom. And so I am super passionate about helping more coaches with this, because there's so many of us that have wisdom to share with the world. And yeah, so it's an interesting topic. We will continue. Let's move to the next question, which I'm going to throw to Denise first. In what ways, Denise, has embracing your gifts and purpose contributed to your own personal growth and joy?
I feel me allowing myself to be open and not carrying on with those conditions that we've grown up with and breaking those molds and saying, you've got to fit in this box, if you've got to fit in this square, or you've got to fit in this circle. It's like owning myself. And Angilie said, is finding yourself, your true essence, what your essence is about you. For me, that it's been a journey of really that discovery of myself and actually openly sharing that with everybody when I've learnt something and not hiding myself as, oh, I've learnt that's all that matters. It's about, I learnt this, maybe that's what you can do. But if that's not what you want, that's okay. But it's like the more knowledge that we can share about how we're willing to be open and honest and have those raw conversations and not hiding behind the conditions, then it allows everyone to grow. And I find that I tend to hold really good space for people that just tend to just pour out everything. So it allows them to speak openly and freely without judgment. So that's the biggest impact and the biggest gift that I have is I'm able to hold that open, unjudgmental, loving space for someone to be able to feel safe within that and being able to then just open up. And the funny thing is I've had that all my life and never realized it. And like you said, Deb, having that wisdom, I had this gift and I just never recognized it until later on in my life. But now that's my superpower. And that's how I'm able to be a way shower for everybody else because it lets them be open and free. And I love how I walk in and I can change a space. And it would just be just from love and not being judgmental and just being who I am in my fullness. And that impacts everybody I come in contact with. So, yeah.
I feel that from you, Denise, and it's such a beautiful gift to really embody love and no judgment. I think I'm very passionate about the more we can transcend judgment, the better the world will be. Bravo to that. Love it. What about for you, Jo? In what ways has embracing your gifts and purpose contributed to your growth and your joy?
Oh my goodness, where do I start? I love that, Denise. That was just so heartfelt, and I get it, because when you're holding space for somebody else, you're also holding space for yourself and your own love. And so for me, I feel like just doing the work, like continually showing up for myself and continually wanting to know more and going deeper and feeling, yeah, what else is there for me to discover and uncover and clear and heal, and all the things. Doing this work with others really puts you in a place where, well, you have to do the work on yourself, otherwise you cannot hold space for others. And having learnt from some of the most incredible mentors in the world, like I think somebody else mentioned, I think Deb, you mentioned, it took me back to when I was in the presence. I had many moments and retreats with the great Jim Rohn. Wow, what a wisdom man that is. And to sit with him at breakfast and be able to have those conversations to help me really step into who I wanted to be. And that was the start, and just always wanting to better myself and discover more about my abilities, coming from a very traumatic background and then a single mum of 4, and then all the things that happen for us to be better. And I think that's probably the biggest gift, is always being tested, and still to this day, at the moment I'm going through an incredible challenging situation, but to show up and step into that person that you truly are is is what it's about. But having all those experiences has been able to help me show up and not fall down again. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's the biggest gift, is always stepping into who you truly are and doing the work, the inner work for the outer transformation, because there's always a gift in the challenge. There's always a gift, but we're not always able to see it in the human body. So in the human, earth suit is what I'll say, earth suit.
Yes, always a gift. And with that perspective of keep showing up to discover, I just totally love that, Jo. Thank you. What about for you, Angilie? For your personal growth and joy, what is like embracing your amazing gifts and purpose? How's that helped your growth and joy?
Yeah, I still remember back in my old life what I felt like. I felt like I was missing something. I never really felt like I was purposeful and not really living up to my full potential, but I could never figure out why I felt like that and how I could stop feeling like that. And it was that pivotal moment of getting laid off that I mentioned that allowed me to go into this new space of really exploring who I truly am and what I'm truly capable of. And it's like night and day. I used to dread Sunday evening because I knew Monday was going to start the next day and I'd have to go through a whole new week of work. But now every day I wake up and I love my life. Every single day for the past 6 years that I've been doing this. And that's really night and day of knowing who you are, what your gifts are, and what your purpose is. Being conditioned and being this robot that's going through this mundane kind of Groundhog Day life. And then the other side of really knowing who you are, what your gifts are, and what your purpose is, and just loving your life. And it's really telling also that I've discovered that during that time when I was really not living as the real me and serving my purpose, during that time I had a lot of chronic ailments, health ailments, like I had chronic migraines, I had an autoimmune arthritis. And looking back, I can see how if we're out of an alignment of who we truly are and what we're truly meant to do, our body and the different systems will, try and tell us, hey, you're out of alignment. But when you're in alignment, all that stuff really disappears. I no longer have migraines. My autoimmune disease is in remission, has been in remission for years now. And so it's like this new freedom. Before, when other people used to say that, I never knew what that meant, but I've been able to discover what they mean. And yeah, it's really, if you're really in alignment and doing what it is you're meant to do, the joy just keeps coming. And so with your own personal growth, helping other people grow as well, was just as an added bonus. Just like Joanne and Denise was saying, when you're able to go out there and help other people, it makes your heart burst because you're like, yes, I love this. I love being able to help other people as well. But at the same time, continuing to grow yourself.
Wow, what a transformational journey you've been on. I love it. The living a textbook, really. I love it. What about for you, Esther? In what ways has embracing your gifts and purpose contributed to your own personal growth and joy?
First of all, wonderful answers, women. I resonate with so many things that were said, and I too love my life. And I didn't always say that. I couldn't always say that. I grew up in a very, I'll call it old-fashioned household, and the women's roles were this and the men's roles were this, and there was a lot of religion attached. And for decades of my life, I'm 61, I just had my birthday last weekend, so 60 is the new 40. Woohoo! I don't know if you feel that way, but I sure do. And I believe that I lived in a low-grade depression for decades because I didn't really understand how to acknowledge my gifts and my purpose. And there was a lot of self-doubt. And for me, coming to realize with some of those pivotal moments that I referred to, and more are flooding into my mind as we speak, they helped me deal with not just the highlights, but the difficult times, as you've all spoken of. Those would sometimes, if someone said something that I took personally, and we know nothing's personal, but I took it personally, that would rock me for who knows how long. And when I learned to step into my magnificence, there's that word again, Denise. I love that word. When I actually embraced my magnificence, I made better choices. I could step into this whole mind myself endeavor, which is something I never thought I would do. And I get to determine my days. I don't know who's hiring 61-year-olds anyway, but I wouldn't look for a job. Like, seriously, there's a whole conversation to be had there. But because I have embraced my gifts, my superpowers, I like that word too, and I can feel my feelings and let them flow through me, that makes such a difference in my life. And I have choice points every day. I can choose how I'm going to feel, and acknowledging even when I'm not feeling all that great, but letting it flow through me, that has made a world of difference. And I have a wonderful partner, and we have a fantastic life together. But sometimes there are these things. I don't know if you can relate, but sometimes there are these things. And the more I embrace my gifts, the more able I am to navigate through those, and sometimes just hold and say, this is a moment. It'll pass. Hold on, love, forgive, and carry on. So I feel like I'm so much better of a person because I've embraced who I really am. And the journey continues. It's not over yet.
Lovely. Happy birthday, Esther. It's only just beginning, right? I totally relate to that. The power of being able to actually feel what we're feeling. There was a time where I just lived in my head. Even early days of my coaching, I would just be reframing in my head. It was when I actually learnt to drop into my body, into my heart, truly feel, and because I was petrified of negative emotions, but actually be able to sit with it and allow them to pass through and feel that peace. That creates the space to truly embrace our gifts and have that perspective on life that allows us to love it fully and love ourselves fully and love everyone fully. So I really resonate with everyone. No surprises, what everyone said. Thank you for your beautiful shares so far. I am loving this. Awesome. So let us move to the next question, which Esther did touch a little bit on with the self-doubt, and I'm sure many of us can relate. We're going to talk about blocks that have been in the way. So I'll start with you, Angilie, in terms of what's an example of when you experienced a block that was in the way of creating the impact you desire, whether it's self-doubt, imposter syndrome, any other block you want to mention, and how did you actually move through it? That's what we want to know.
Oh my goodness, there's so many, even now, even when I know better. But yeah, I think that we all go through having these different types of blocks. I know that even before I discovered who I am and what I'm capable of, I recognized that I used to have different types of fears that I was always dealing with. Fear of using my voice, of letting people know how I really felt, what I really thought. As a healthcare manager, I suffered from severe imposter syndrome. I always felt I didn't deserve to be in that job. I couldn't do that job very well, even though my departments were getting awards left and right. I kept getting promotions, but still I had this feeling that I was a failure and I wasn't good enough for the position that I had. So I definitely think that we all face fears or these types of blocks every day, even when we are aware of our mindset and how to shift our mindset and how we have the conscious and subconscious brain and how the subconscious brain is on autopilot and it comes from dealing with traumas and things in childhood that really shaped our mindset and understanding things like that. But now that I know better about my mindset and also understand better the different thought patterns that I have, the different behaviors that I have, and just recognizing to pause and be aware of those things, especially when I have a challenge or a stressful situation happen. Before, I think Esther said that if somebody said something to her, she would take it at face value and it would destroy her day. It would be really stressful for her for days. I used to do the same thing. I would be depressed and things like that. But now, like Esther, don't take anything personal because nothing is. But that's a lesson that I had to learn. And it's just becoming aware of those certain things and And as you become more self-aware of yourself, it also allows you to also have empathy, understanding, compassion for what other people are going through. And yeah, I don't know if that answers your question or not, but
Yeah, beautifully done. And you remind me, when you don't take things personally, it reminds me of a great book called The Four Agreements. I can recommend the entire world to read that, to not make assumptions, not take things personally, because that's usually when I have been. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yeah, I think we all resonate with, there's so many things that get in the way. But Jo, let's hear from you in terms of an example of your experience with this, and what did you do to move through it?
Wow. So many. Again, I feel like what we're talking about here and what Angilie has tapped into is, and also Esther, as far as the taking things personally and the Four Agreements. I love that book. I recommended it to our farm community so we could live co-create in harmony. But for me, it was really late in my coaching experience. I was a health and wellness coach for many years, but really didn't tap into all the other things like the mind stuff and what's really driving us till late, and realize that why I was reacting and not responding was because of the unresolved trauma I had inside of me, which I wasn't aware of that, what it was. And it was until I realized that I could then find tools and ways to support me in moving through that. And that was a lot of work, a lot of healing had to happen, because we're not always ready to see the things that we don't want to see. However, when I learned that's what was my reaction, what I was reacting to, and then realizing that others were responding or reacting out of their own wounding, their own trauma, it was a game changer, because it was easy to forgive. It was easy to see from their perspective and why they were reacting to me or to others or in certain situations. And so realizing that you need to really uncover what your triggers are through having somebody supporting you do that. Number one, it's very difficult to do alone. I couldn't have done it alone. But a technique that I remember that I use a lot now that helped me get through, not so much now, but helped me get through that self-doubt, that imposter syndrome, was a technique called stacking. I don't know if you've heard of stacking, but it was a way to reframe my mind, my thinking, my words, the things that were coming up for me. And that was all around remembering everything that I am, everything that I'd been through and everything that I'd overcome and everything that I've achieved, and stacking those in my mind. Just, yes, you've done this and you've done this and you've done this, and really creating a picture again of who you truly are. And it really helped me move through the fear, right? Because it's basically fear. It really helped me step into that person and move through those challenges with much more ease and grace. Yeah, so stacking it's like the evidence that you are, you can, you will, and you must. And when it's hard, you must. That's what I just found myself using that tool to help me move forward and step into that confident, powerful, competent person that I truly am, beyond the trauma that we all are. It's there. We are innately, it's in us. It's our soul's purpose. So yeah, continue. That's a really great tool. Stacking, remembering all the things, who you truly are.
Thank you, Jo. Love it. And we are going to go to practical tips after this. So there's a bonus one. There's a bonus. Esther, what about for you? What's an example when you experienced a block to create what you wanted, and how did you move through it?
I'll get to an example, but I want to follow up on Joanne's stacking conversation.
Yeah.
I think that is so useful. And the reverse, or the flip side of it, and I think I was very good at it, was reverse or negative stacking. I was under it. And so I negatively stacked all the things that people had said, and I created stories around those. What's the technique or strategy to move beyond those and go, oh, okay, I'm going to reframe the whole thing and stack positively instead of negatively, which I love. And I think for me, one of the key things for a lot of years, I felt like a country bumpkin. I was raised in a small town in Northern Ontario called Sault Ste. Marie. And my dad was a clerk in the steel mill. We had enough, but we didn't have a lot extra. And there was this notion around money. And if people were wealthy, then there was this idea that, oh, they were somehow better than us at the time. And so I've had to work on the whole notion of abundance. It's a lifelong process for me, working around the abundance issues and feeling worthy, not in an arrogant way, but you're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy, you're worthy. Everyone I talk to is worthy of abundance. And there's so many ways that I have sabotaged myself with my thinking. And one of those ways in the past was peace at all costs. And I tend to be a peacemaker, and that's a good skill to have, but not at all costs. So I've had to learn that and to stand my ground. And when I've had those bumps especially with my partner, and we love each other to bits and we do so many things together. And when we were first starting our connection, I remember saying to him, I'm afraid of you. And he said, why? What? How can you be afraid of me? And I said, because you're so strong. And it's all great when we agree and we're on the same page. But what happens when we're not? And I said, I want to be strong enough to stand. Again, I'm not in opposition, but I need to stand for me. If I don't agree with you or I have a different point of view, then I want to be able to do that. This whole process of accepting and loving and embracing my own unique gifts has totally made a difference in my ability to stand, not just with my partner, but in other people. I still get uncomfortable sometimes. There's a situation this week that I was listening to and observing and holding space, and also hearing some things about myself. And I had to be there and be present and let the feelings flow and acknowledge them deeply. And how did I get through those? Breathing is one. I know we're going to talk about practical tips, so this kind of it goes into that, but breathing, remembering who I really am, and putting it out in front of me instead of that other negative stacking, just let that fall, getting grounded and writing intentions. Those are some of the things that I do very purposefully to get through when I have some of those times.
Lovely. I very much relate with money has been my greatest classroom this lifetime, an ongoing journey of receiving abundance. And you said something really interesting about peace at all costs. It's like peacemaking is your strength, but our greatest strength is often also our greatest weakness. So really cool to have that behavioral flexibility. And so congratulations, Esther, on the journey. It's really cool. Now, Denise, interested to hear what is an example for you that any blocks you've had that were in the way, and how you move through.
Yeah, all of these have been so impactful, even for me now, all your answers. So that's beautiful. I feel for me, it came to an impasse, and many times in my life that it's like you stand there and you go, is this really me? Is this when I'm trying to do so? The biggest one is I could never speak like this. I could never do anything. I was so shy. I would always be at the back of the room. Leave me at the back of the room and I'm okay. But it was like I wanted to share. So it was like, how do I get past this to be able to move forward and get to do what it is that it will help impact myself and the world. And it was like, okay, I want to share this information. Where can I share it? So I found somewhere and I just booked myself in, and I was absolutely terrified because I had to speak for half an hour on conditional love. And it was like, oh my gosh. But it was like leading up to it, all the fear that came up, and just getting really curious about where all of that stemmed from. Why am I so fearful to speak? Why am I fearful to say what I want to say? And as I went through all of that, I found the place to speak. I did the half an hour. I was elated, and I do it all the time now. But what that showed me is that is our conditioning, and it's our childhood conditioning that sets those boundaries on us, that sets those fears, that cuts us off, because that's our childhood expectation, whether I'm allowed to speak, whether I'm allowed to sing, whether I'm allowed to cry, whether I'm allowed to be who I'm supposed to be at that time, to be able to grow into myself. If I've been stunted here through the conditions of my parents, my school teachers, whoever through all my life, doesn't allow me to blossom. So you can never find your uniqueness in those environments. And the thing that I found is we carry them and we take on that childhood expectation and we own that for ourselves. And we want to blame everybody else for making us this way. But the greatest thing that I found to unblock so much is me take responsibility that I've owned that. And yes, there's situations that can be catastrophic in our lives and horrible and really challenging, but I choose to carry that forward. I choose to bring that into my day to day. So it was that unlearning and that curiosity of following that thread back to the core. And that's what I love doing with people. That's how I love showing the way for people, is taking them back to that core of what's playing out in my fears, in my stuckness today. It's happened here when I was a child. And then we explore that, because it's not the event itself, it's actually the emotions and the expression I was unable to express, say, do at the time I was closed. So I believe that I can't express myself today. So for me, that was a real catalyst in my impact in myself, to be able to express myself, whether it's I'm crying all over the place or I'm angry all over the place. I'm not directing it at anybody. This is how I'm feeling. And to be able to play that out and get curious to why I'm doing this and why it feels and what's it linked to. And then we have the freedom then to move on from there. And I think that's been the biggest catalyst. And they're the blocks. Everything I come up against, that's the thread I need to follow. And that's for all of us, and we can all do it, which is so beautiful. And it's such a beautiful gift to self. It's a gift of self-responsibility. It's a gift of love for self. And I really love sharing that. And we have blocks every day that we maneuver ourselves through. And the biggest thing is holding ourselves, like you all said, but in love and compassion and unjudgmental of ourselves, because no one else is judging us. Only ourselves are. And if we are, then everyone looks at us the same, because we're inviting them to. So, yeah, it's the biggest, I suppose the biggest breakthrough that I found, and being able to speak, it's just amazing. And being able to share my voice now, and because I love giving it away. I love seeing people's lives light up, change. Because when you impact somebody, in that moment, their life changes. It doesn't take a week or so. It's in that moment. Once they see themselves, their perspective of themselves change straight away. And it might take them a while for them to catch up, but it's there and then. And you can see it in their face. It's like the lines just fade. It's just so beautiful. Yeah.
Love it. Wow. So much inspiration for being present and curious and courageous in kind of taking responsibility. Very much resonate with that, Denise, and what a beautiful journey that you're now speaking, and hooray that you made that happen so that the world can be blessed by that. So very happy to hear that. So this is I get excited about this question because it's the practical tips. It's the things that you can do that put this in action. So to our beautiful global audience, I encourage you to also comment in the chat what practical tips you're going to take and try and play with and test out for yourself. We're going to hear from everyone a practical tip that I'm going to start with you, Jo. A practical tip you suggest someone could take to uncover their own wisdom, their genius, their talents, their gifts. What's a tip that they can do to uncover their unique gifts?
I think what's coming through for me is just awareness of self and how we're feeling in any given moment, and honoring whatever that may be, good, bad, indifferent, and feeling into the body, holding space for that to release in that way that is gentle and kind to self, because underneath that is your wisdom, is your talents, is your gifts, but we need to make time and space. And I guess this comes back to doing the inner work, making the time and space to go in and hold space for whatever is coming up for you, and allowing that to work through you so you can have a clearer mind, but also a clearer picture of what that may be if you don't know yet. And if you already do know what your genius, gifts, and talents are, keep doing the work and uncover what's running us unconsciously. What are these stories we tell ourselves? Being aware of the stories that which are untrue, and changing it in that moment through that holding space for self and being present with self. And it's a practice, it's a discipline, and it's really worth it, right? Even if it's for 5 minutes every few hours a day, checking in with yourself and go, how do I feel? Where am I at? What's coming up for me? And specifically when you're being triggered, specifically making time, if not in that moment, but later, to just go into that space and feel what it is so that you can release it. And we keep moving through and keep moving through and keep moving through all of it, holding space for all of it and loving every part of it, because you are unique at your core. You do have gifts, you do have talents, and you do have wisdom. You're all queens if you're women and kings if you're men. And really stepping into that. And it's easy when we can clear all the junk that's underneath, all the unconscious programming that's running us, all the limiting beliefs, all the things. Change your story will change your life.
So true. Love the checking in regularly and loving it all and choosing the story we want to create. Beautiful, Jo. Thank you. Denise, what about for you? What would you suggest someone to discover, uncover all their wisdom, genius, talents, and gifts?
For me is, I'd really love to say this lovingly, is stop looking outside of yourself. Really come back into yourself. And what that looks like is the curiosity of getting to know yourself, because what we do is we want to know ourselves by what everybody else thinks and what everybody else says. We're looking for that validation. We're looking for that niceness from everybody else, but we're not doing it for ourselves. So it's about validating yourself. It's about seeing yourself and seeing your own gifts and really getting curious about who you are, because you're so unique. You're a perfect being. There is nothing whatsoever is wrong with you except for what we've planted on ourselves and what we've believed from everybody else. So we have everything within us. We have all the tools. You impact the world on a daily basis, but how do you want to impact the world? So it's about, my gift would be is come back home, come back into yourself and find you, because then you be able, because when you go inwards, then you'll expand outwards. And like Jo says, all those traumas and all those things, those beliefs, then you work on them because you're getting to know yourself. Oh, I'm reacting to that. What does that mean to me? Why do I react to that? Because it's not about the person. It's about, okay, where have I reacted to that before? How old was I? Who was I with? It's just that thread of finding out where I've taken on these beliefs, because that's all they are. I've just believed that. I've believed what you've said, that I can't do it. So now in my everyday, I believe I can't do it. So it's going back and saying, who said that to me? Who told me that? And when did I decide to believe that? So it's really coming home to yourself, because you can't change the world, but when you change yourself, the world around you will change. Yeah,
Very powerful. And beliefs are just thoughts we keep thinking. We get to choose them, right? It's cool. Angilie, what's a practical tip you'd suggest for someone to find their unique talents and gifts and wisdom?
Yeah, I think all of us, I'm sure, have several tips that we can share that we utilize every day. But I think one that I'd like to share is gratitude. It's something that has tremendously helped me. It helped me tremendously in the beginning when I was very young in my self-discovery journey. It's still something that helps me today. And it's something that I feel like is critical that everybody does is having a gratitude practice. I think typically as humans, we tend to look at the negative. We tend to complain about the things that we don't have or who we're not. And we tend to focus on things that we want. We tend to make things conditional. I'll be happy when I have this much money. I'll be happy when I lose 20 pounds. I'll do this when I have this. And really using that same energy, but using it in a positive way by recognizing what you do have and what you can be grateful for, and how practicing gratitude, it just changes your mindset. It changes your energy level and it changes your perspective and allows you to receive instead of give too much, lose track of who you are, lose sight of the talents and purpose that you have. But being grateful for even the smallest things opens up your mind and your eyes to see things that otherwise you normally don't see because you're too busy complaining or wishing you had something somebody else had. So that would be my tip for everybody, is really recognize how powerful gratitude is. It's something that we all know how to do. It doesn't take very long to do, and you can do it anywhere at any time. And it's super powerful, very critical superpower in my opinion.
I agree. I have a theory that actually, if maybe all the successful people on the planet have a gratitude practice, I'm pretty convinced they appreciate, they're thankful, they're grateful. And it said, Angilie, thank you for sharing that. I'm glad that's one of the tips that came out. What about for you, Esther? What's your practical suggestion that's a tip for someone to unleash their genius?
I'm going to share a quote by Barbara Sher. She wrote a book called What Color's Your Parachute? So if you're having trouble figuring out who you are, that's a good book to look at. But she says, everyone has unique gifts and talents. What you love is what you're gifted at. To be completely happy, to live a completely fulfilled life, you have to do what you love. How do we find what we love? Some of us are so earnest. All these things are so great. And Denise, I love your words. You keep telling me words that I just love. They're just so great. I'm happy dancing inside. But we try so hard, and I have spent so many years of my life trying. And Lily Tomlin says, maybe if we didn't try harder, but we tried softer, that would be great. And we might open it instead of efforting it to get there. So I'd say lighten up. That's my strategy. Let's lighten up a little bit. And if you're looking for a laughter, I think laughter every day, even something small, if you can find laughter in a given day, that's great. And here are 2 tips. If you're easily offended, don't listen to this first one. Her name is Sarah Millican, and she's a British icon. She's a comedian. Fabulous, fabulous, but she is crude. And then there's Michael McIntyre, who's also another British icon. Excuse me. And he is so funny. Sometimes we just need to get out of the seriousness of it all and go have a good belly laugh and then go for a walk. That's how I would like to leave this with. Lighten up and find something to laugh about.
Yes, laugh, even if it's at yourself. Or find those comedians. I love it. Thank you, Esther. I'm just so into laughing and play. I would like to give a tip, particularly for those who are coaches, healers, and in that realm. We have an exercise because we believe the coaches who have the leading edge wisdom need to step up and shine right now, and they need to position themselves as experts. So we have a whole process to help them do that. One of the exercises we start with we call the Oprah exercise. So if you don't love Oprah, think of someone you would love to be interviewed by. But let's just play with Oprah for a sec. If you imagine in a couple of years' time, your business is thriving, you've got amazing clients, the world is absolutely benefiting from the amazing impact you're making, and you get interviewed by Oprah. And Oprah says, oh my gosh, I have heard how amazing you are. And I heard there's 6 key things you teach. What are they? Play with that exercise to distill all your wisdom into 6 categories. Play with that exercise again and keep playing with it, because the more you can start to unpack your wisdom, that's a very powerful place to start owning the value and sharing it with the world. And have fun with that. Let me know how you go. So we have done the core questions. We have done time as well. So let's go to our final round of asking for some final thoughts. Any last tips and offers that you want to make, and then we will officially wrap up. So I'm going to go around, and I am going to start with you, Jo. What is your final thoughts you'd like to share?
You know what? This has just been such valuable information and valuable transformational. I've lost for words, because it's just been so beautiful to hear from all these amazing women who have done the work, done the hard yards, and are using their wisdom and gifts in the world. That I just want to honor you ladies for doing that and being part of the change that we want to see in the world as well. And I know that's cliche, but it's what it's about, right? We're bettering our fellow humans, and doing what we're doing is brave work. It's courageous work, because it's not easy when you're working as a solo entrepreneur. And that one thing I want to say is we all need support. Everybody needs support. We're not meant to be doing this human experience on our own. So reach out for support, and there's no shame in that. Like, it's such a courageous thing to do as well. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, ladies. It's been a gift to everyone hearing your journey and your stories. Oh, and my offer.
Thank you, Jo. Oh, yeah.
I have an offer. I have a free offer. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. So 10 daily practices, simple practices to transform your life. I'll get Chris May to pop the link in the chat and access that and practice that, and work with what resonates, and do it every day. Thank you.
Love it, Jo. Thank you so much. What about for you, Angilie? Final thoughts you'd like to share from today?
Yeah, again, I resonate with what Joanna said. This has been an amazing panel, such an inspiring discussion. I'm so grateful to have been here to be part of this. But yeah, my final thoughts would be letting everybody know out there that you are unique. You do have unique gifts. You are a unique, bright soul, and you are meant to shine your light out there in the world. Everybody needs you to shine your brilliant light out there into the world. And so I would encourage you to rediscover who it is that you truly are, discover your passions and unique talents and your purpose, and go out there and do what it is that you were supposed to do and be who it is that you were supposed to be. And I do have a gift for everybody. I have a new workbook, which is called Rediscovering You, Empowerment for the Multitasking Woman, which walks them through some practices, some exercises on rediscovering themselves, also remembering their core values or creating them if they haven't figured that out, and rediscovering or figuring out what their passions are, and how to also juggle the responsibilities and roles that we have, the multiple things that we are responsible for, while also feeling like they're doing that with ease. I have that workbook for you.
Thank you, Angilie. Loving the gifts for everyone. Let's hear your final thoughts, Esther.
Maya Angelou says, talent is like electricity. We don't understand electricity, but we use it. So I'd like to leave people with that. If you're listening today and you're still with us in this conversation, just use it. Figure it out. Make mistakes. Blunder. Triumph. Just play and laugh and see what can come out. And my offer stands. Go visit Mind Myself. It's a free resource for you. It's all there for you. And if you really want to know why and how I started Mind Myself, this book, Epic Transformations, reach out to me personally by my email, and I'll send you my chapter for free. Love to stay connected with you. Thank you for this opportunity with all you amazing women. Thanks.
Thank you, Esther. I love that offer too. It's great to connect with you. So I highly recommend everyone connects with each other and the audience reaches out to all of us. Denise, your final thoughts, please.
Yeah, it's been so beautiful to share with all you ladies, and I've taken so much away from each one of you. And I suppose my parting is to love yourself is to be kind to yourself and to be gentle with yourself and have no expectations. Live in the gratitude that you have this opportunity to look at yourself. It's not a hard and fast. This is a lifetime of change. This is an everyday thing. So I don't have to go into it hard and fast to change my world in one day, because I'm sorry, you won't. But it's just gently as you go, because you are, like Esther said, you're going to stuff up. You're going to go, oh, here I am again. I'm at this same spot again. Why am I here? But the beautiful thing is you've become aware of that. That's the change. That's the gratitude. That's the love. That's the kindness for yourself. And have that utter compassion and no judgment of yourself. And that is a learning thing. And it's about going, is this really true? Is this my truth? No or yes? And if it's yes, okay, so what is it about it? Or no, what is that about? It's that real curiosity of asking questions, because we're so good for asking our friends, are you okay? I see you're this and that, and how can I help you? Are you doing that for yourself? So it's that real impact you have on yourself that impacts the world. So be loving, love and compassion, and will bring out the truth of your essence for yourself. So it's about not judging it, but looking at it curiously, if that's a word, with curiosity, looking at everything in curiosity and being okay with what comes up. And if you got to feel it, I say feel it to heal it. We see our children are a beautiful example. They will get on the ground and they will chuck a tantrum, or they'll just all of a sudden start crying, and you go, oh no, what's wrong? And then all of a sudden they're fine and they get up and they go and play again. They're just feeling in their moment. They're showing us how to do it. We've just forgotten. So yeah, but thank you. It's been so beautiful. And if my contacts will all be in the details, I'm happy to sit and chat with someone if they're feeling that they need a little bit more of what, what this actually really means for them, and what that, a bit more information. I'm happy to chat. Doesn't cost anything. Happy to chat, because my passion is to see everyone come and love and know themselves.
Lovely, Denise. Yes, to be love and curious and let go of that judgment, and you're speaking my language. And my tip really is to connect with us, me or any of these beautiful, inspiring women on this panel, because being part of Sacred You is genuinely about connection. So don't be shy to reach out and connect. That's what we're here for, and what we love to do, and what the world needs right now, especially with all the AI and all the non-human stuff happening. It's time to connect heart to heart with other humans. So definitely reach out. I do have a free gift for those of you that resonate of being some type of coach, using that umbrella of can be any style of healer, practitioner, guide, wisdom teacher, way shower. The guide is called Beyond Limits, a guide to mastering value and confidence. The link is in where you find all the details, how you can connect with everyone. Feel free to check that out. Feel free to connect with me, and feel free to connect with all the panelists. Thank you all. I have just been inspired and uplifted, as I had this sense I was going to be, but it was probably even more. Woohoo! Yeah, I loved it. As Sophia, our beautiful leader of Sacred You, is not here, we have the amazing Jo to represent her and close this session and talk about how amazing this Sacred You community is. So I'm going to pass over to you, Jo, with gratitude for everyone. Jo, Denise, Esther, Angilie, you really just touched my heart, and I'm excited to get to know you all more.
Yeah, thank you, Deb. Beautiful hosting as well. Yeah, Sacred You, come and join us. It's as Deb said, it's a community of connection of like-minded, wise women like we had today, sharing all their gifts with the world. And it's such a beautiful space for you to be who you are, truly to be who you are. I host a group in there. We call them tribes. It's called the Empower You Tribe, but there's so many other tribes of interests that you may also resonate with, and come and join those tribes for $1 as a trial for 2 weeks. So that's pretty amazing, where you can trial and experience all the different tribes and experiences in the Sacred Use community. Plus, we have so much happening in the Facebook group and the website. There's so many things that you can get involved in and be in the community of like-minded women and men. There is a men's tribe too. So come and join us for $1 US for 2 weeks trial, and test out, trial all these beautiful tribes that we host there. And mine is Empowering You. So nothing's off the table. Just come and experience it. Yeah, thank you for listening, and I'm really excited to see you in the community. And if you do choose to stay in the community after your trial period, I believe it's a 50% off, a monthly payment of around, I think, $20 US a month, which is nothing, less than a cup of coffee, or not even a day. So yeah, it's an incredible community. Come join us. We'd love to see you there. Thank you, Deb. Thank you, everyone.